Hi, congratulations, David. So you just renewed your new book, The Transhuman Code. It's about how to program your future. Can you talk a bit more about this?
Yes, absolutely. For the last decade, I've been watching the advancement of companies here in the United States, in Europe, and of course in Asia and South America through their evolution. And when I was invited to attend the World Economic Forum in 2014, the objective was for me to talk about financing technology. At that time, technology was the 5th largest sector in the world. What I came to realize very quickly was that rather than focusing on how to finance technology, we really needed to focus on how technology was going to impact all of the other industry sectors. Now, of course, technology is the single most important sector today. But what your viewers may not know is that almost 80% today of all of the technology companies that are acquired by non-technology companies that want to use their technology to advance their operating business. This is very significant. The Transhuman Code was introduced 3 years ago expressly for the purpose of discussing amongst corporate leaders, technology leaders, finance leaders about how we could ensure that technology is created and implemented in the best interest of everyone.
Yeah, because I saw it's with the Transhuman Code, we can now choose a path for our future, and that protects humanity and the human identity.
Well, so I think it's really important in the absence of a governor of technology that decides what we can develop, where we can develop it, where we can deploy it, and how we would use it, in order to ensure that the human, the individual, stays in control of that relationship. We think it's important that we establish an understanding amongst the developers, the enablers, and all the users of technology, which is all of us, of course. In order to do that most effectively, we need to agree that the individual is more important than any technology. In fact, the greatest technology of all is the human being. And so we should be using technology to enhance the human being, to enhance the experience in life for human beings, but not ever let it compromise. One of the big challenges that we're facing now, and you know, of course, China is proving to be, I think, probably the dominant and most significant developer for artificial intelligence. We have to realize that artificial intelligence can be a positive contributor to us, but we also have to make sure that we don't give too much power to the artificial intelligence so that it usurps us or takes away from the individuals.
Yeah, you just talk about AI, but how about the blockchain?
Well, listen, blockchain, of course, we know as the underpinning of the cryptocurrency frenzy that we're experiencing, a phenomena that certainly is being embraced all over the world. What I'm most intrigued by is, of course, the use of blockchain across the financial technology community as a whole. But more importantly, the ability to be able to apply it for all contractual engagements where trust historically has been delivered by way of a manual function. So blockchain has certainly attracted the support of corporations and institutions and governments all over the world. There are a tremendous number of wise people committed to its development. And I feel very confident that we're on the precipice of developing enough of a commercial demand for blockchain that we'll be able to implement it and certainly save time and allow individuals, the human beings like you and I, to be focused on other areas of work that may be more enjoyable than some of the redundant functions that blockchain is going to be able to replicate and take the place of.
Yes, because we try to integrate blockchain and apply blockchain technology to media industry?
Yes, of course. No, listen. Wherever a mutable ledger is desired for the exchange of information, for the exchange of intellectual property between individuals and organizations and governments and government agencies, it's a wonderful vehicle. I think it promises to truly revolutionize some of those burdensome tasks that are often executed unnecessarily. So I'm a big believer that while there are some real threats to us as human beings from technology if we don't use it intelligently, I'm really quite optimistic about the application of technology for good. I think it provides the opportunity for us to increase in the quality of life experience for people all over the world. Interestingly, we're actually beginning to see technologies that have been created for developing countries, sub-Saharan Africa, across Asia, being brought back here to the developed Western market for use. A solar heating initiative that originated from China is now being used in the Bronx. Water purification initiatives that were developed in Africa are being used in Central and Southern America in highly commercialized areas. So tremendous opportunities. I'm very excited about what lies ahead, but we also have to be very cautious of how to use our information and to ensure that we're thinking about how we can do the most good with the technology that we have available to us.
Yeah, thanks. A very good book. So people should take a look at that and see how the relationship between the human being and the new technology, right? So today is the 2019 Global Corporate Growth Summit. So as a very professional and high-end M&A advisor professionals, how do you think about the current trade war will affect this industry?
So I think it's very unfortunate that we are in the midst of a trade war to begin with. China and the United States have been enjoying a growing relationship through foreign direct investment, both into the United States from China and into China from the United States. 2018 saw a significant slowdown in that activity, and regrettably, by year's end, we were witnessing an 82% decline in foreign investment from China into the United States. And I don't think that's because Chinese companies didn't want to invest in the United States. I do think that the environment is one with which they had less trust, and I think our government agencies were more closely scrutinizing the opportunities. I think it's very responsible for both governments to be considerate of what the impacts of trade and investment can be for their future. I'm encouraged that our governments have committed the time to speak. Those conversations need to continue. The opportunities that are afforded both the United States and China for technology development and the application of technologies to current businesses are great. I'm optimistic, but I think it will take time for this to become the single greatest trade and investment relationship that we know in the world today.
Okay. So, according to current situation, what's your advice or what's your new resolution to the situation?
So late last year, I was invited to co-chair a new foundation, the Asia Pacific M&A Council. There are 18 member countries, all bordering the Pacific Ocean, and the primary mandate was during challenging economic times, during challenging trade relations periods, that the M&A professionals continue to stay in dialogue with one another. That whilst it may be more difficult to conduct M&A transactions today, doesn't mean that we should stop talking. So we share as an industry, we share a best practices, a desire to develop and maintain the best possible practices for deal making. The Asia Pacific M&A Council, which why I'm proud to be co-chairing, was founded last year for the purpose of facilitating M&A activity between the 18 member countries, as well as providing a platform for the participants and the membership of the Council to be able to collaborate with one another for the purpose of establishing best practices that can be used universally, to be able to share with one another their understanding of factors within their specific market that could impact foreign direct investment and cross-border trade, and to be able to create a network of individuals that can have access to resources, both people and knowledge all across the region for the advancement of our industry as a whole. And so I think during good economic times or bad, during times where we have deep trade tension or all is working very smoothly, this organization, I think, will serve our industry particularly well.
So as the chairman of the M&A advisor, so what you're going to do? What's your plan in the next few months or years?
Yeah, so four times a year, including this event, we convene leading M&A professionals, media, academics, policymakers, and policy influencers to talk about all the factors that are influencing mergers and acquisitions. It provides an opportunity, for us to be able to reflect on what's happened in the recent months, but most importantly, for us to be able to look forward and anticipate what's coming and ideally inform and engage all of the members of our community to talk about how we can be most effective at what we do. I think one of the single most important services that we provide as an organization, in addition to the research that we conduct, the analysis that we bring to the activities that have occurred, is our facilitation of a gathering where wise women and men get to share their own experiences, and we all get to meet with one another, because at the end of the day, what makes M&A work most effectively is the interaction that occurs between the professionals. We're really quite a social industry,